Have you guys heard the story about the old cult house? The one that sat vacant for years, until one day, a young boy decided to explore the home. And guys, you won't believe what he saw. Hidden deep in a shadowy forest was a small town. From the outside looking in, it seemed like a regular old town. But the locals knew that this couldn't be farther from the truth. For the town held a secret so sinister that the locals didn't even dare to speak on it. The thing about the house is it hadn't always been abandoned. As a matter of fact, it used to be well kept and always decorated, especially around Halloween time. Until one day, it was mysteriously left, never to be touched again. Nobody knows what happened to the family that once lived there. They just disappeared and never came back. A little backstory on this family. They were a little bit different, to put it lightly. They lived a very reclusive life, always hidden behind the drawn shades. And on the rare occasion that they did venture out, they deliberately avoided any interaction, refusing to even acknowledge the presence of others. It was literally to the point where you would wave at them and they would stare straight through you, as if you didn't even exist. People would rumor that they were part of the occult, performing sinister rituals under the cover of darkness. Then, one day, as abruptly as they arrived, they completely disappeared, leaving their home to crumble with its hidden, unspeakable secrets. As years turned into decades, the Willis House became infamous for its hauntings. People would tell stories of seeing ghostly apparitions standing in the windows, staring at them as they would walk by. Some people even claimed to hear whispers calling them inside, but nobody was ever brave enough to go into the home. But that changed when Jack decided he was going to go into the home and film it all for his YouTube channel. For years, he had been making video after video, trying anything to get that one viral video that would push his page to the next level. But despite his best efforts, his videos would barely reach the triple-digit views. Then, just as he was about to give it all up completely, it struck him, the perfect concept for his next video. He would venture into the infamous Willis House, camera in hand, and record the entire thing. This was sure to draw in the views and give his channel the boost that it desperately needed. If you're enjoying the video, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Your engagement really helps in pushing my videos to the For You page, allowing more people to discover our content. And if you haven't already, make sure to follow my page so you guys never miss out on the latest content. And now, let's get back to the video. The following night, Jack gathered his recording equipment and headed for the house. As he pulled up, he felt a wave of nervousness surge through his body. His palms began sweating and his breaths became shallow. The haunting tales he's heard his whole life suddenly felt all too real. Sitting in his car, he took a deep breath and gave himself a little pep talk. It's just a house, it's just stories, he reminded himself, trying to shake off the fear. Gradually, his determination returned, and he slowly made his way towards the door, carefully watching his surroundings. And without giving himself time to think, he swung open the front door and he stepped inside. The air was thick and it stunk of decay. As he wandered through the rooms, he noticed that they were all covered in dust and cobwebs, seemingly frozen in time. As he ventured deeper into the house, a sense of unease grew within him, a feeling that he was not alone. But he shook it off and continued on. In the heart of the house, Jack found an old library, its walls lined with ancient books and bizarre artifacts. As he was panning the camera around the room, he discovered a hidden diary. Hell yeah, this will make awesome content, he thought. But nothing could prepare him for the horrors he was about to see. The first page he opened to, there was a hand-drawn illustration of the most gruesome sacrifice he'd probably ever seen. Next to it was the directions needed to perform the sacrificial ritual. He frantically flipped through the pages, revealing more and more rituals, until he got to the last entry. He was shocked when he realized this final passage was the last ritual the Willis family ever performed. It was a chilling account describing a complex ceremony intended to breach the boundaries between life and death. The entry was meticulous, outlining every single step, every incantation, and the crucial need for a living conduit, someone to anchor the ritual in the realm of the living. Jack's heart raced as he discovered the family's intentions. They planned to transcend their mortal bodies to exist between worlds. But he noticed an odd note towards the end of the entry, a frantic scrawl that spoke of an unexpected interruption, leaving the ritual incomplete. The Willises had been so close to achieving their goal, but something had stopped them. As Jack absorbed this information, the atmosphere in the house began to shift. The air grew denser, and the shadows seemed to pulse with a life of their own. It was as if the house itself was reacting to the presence of somebody who had uncovered its deepest secrets. Jack felt a growing sense of dread, a realization that the ritual, dormant for so long, was awakening. The whispers, previously echoes, became clear as if they were converging around him. He could almost distinguish words, please, beckoning him to complete the unfinished ceremony. The shadows began to move around him until they started to circle him, drawing closer with each passing second. And then it dawned on him. Those whispers were the Willises. They never left. They never vacated the home. They have been here the entire time, trapped in the in-between, waiting for somebody brave enough to come into the home and involuntarily become their conduit. By reading the diary, by being in the house, Jack had alerted the restless spirits to his presence. He was the missing piece that they had been waiting for, the key to unlocking the final step in their dark ambitions. Suddenly, Jack's survival instincts kicked in. He snapped the diary shut. The whispers continued to grow louder, more urgent. He stood up, his heart pounding in his chest. He bolted out of the library, running for the front door. But as he entered the hallway, he was shocked to see a completely different house. He didn't recognize anything about this place. The hallways that he had just seen seconds before were completely transformed into a complex maze-like labyrinth. Panic started to set in. Was he ever going to get out of here? Deep breath, just chill out. He coached himself down, trying to figure out where he was. He could see ghostly figures flickering in his peripherals, eternal remnants of the Willises, their spectral forms distorted by their unfulfilled desires. As he navigated the twisting halls, the whispers grew into voices, calling out his name, begging him, commanding him to finish the ritual. The figures became more and more distinguished, their ghostly figures twisted in anguish and desperation. Jack felt their icy fingers brush against him as he passed by, each touch sending shivers down his spine. He quickly opened a door, believing it to be the exit. As he stepped through, he expected to be greeted by the night sky. But instead, he found himself still inside the house, standing in a room that was frozen in time. There was a circle of candles long burnt out, and symbols scrawled all across the floor. The heart of the ritual. The air here was electric, charged with the energy of the incomplete ceremony. He felt a strange pull towards the circle, an almost magnetic urge to step into it, but he resisted, knowing that if he did, it would surely be his end. With every step, the house seemed to fight back. Doors were opening and slamming shut. The floorboards creaked from every direction, as if trying to disorient him and trap him. But Jack wasn't about to let the house win. He tried his hardest to remember the layout of the house. If he followed the path in his head, he should be able to escape. He started heading back out the same exact way he came in. The spirits became more hostile with every step, until finally he saw the front door. As he approached, the figures converged, forming a barrier between him and his freedom. Jack could feel their sorrow, their anger, their longing for release. With a surge of adrenaline, he charged forward, his body passing through the spectral forms. It was cold and suffocating. He burst through the front door, tumbling out into the night. The cool, fresh air of the outside world was a stark contrast to the oppressive atmosphere that he felt inside the home. Jack didn't even take the time to stop and look behind him. He ran as fast as he could, the house receding into the darkness behind him. Jack made it home, his breath ragged, his body trembling from the adrenaline and fear. As he closed his front door behind him, he felt a wave of relief rush over his body. He was so grateful to be safe, the nightmare of the Willis house behind him. In the days that followed, Jack tried to return to his normal life, but something was off. Objects in his house seemed to move on their own. He would place his keys on the kitchen table, only to find them on the living room couch. His books rearranged themselves all on their own, and sometimes, late at night, he would hear faint whispers, like echoes of the voices from the Willis house. Now, initially, he dismissed these incidences as figments of his stressed mind, a residual effect of his terrifying experience. Then one evening, as Jack was watching TV, the room temperature plummeted, a coldness he knew he'd felt before. He looked up, and to his horror, he saw a faint ghostly figure standing in the corner of the room. It was a shadowy silhouette, barely visible, yet unmistakably reminiscent of the spectral forms in the Willis house. Panic surged through Jack's body. In that moment, he understood the terrifying truth. The ritual, the curse of the Willis family, was now tethered to him. He had become the living conduit the Willises had been seeking for over a century. Over the next few days, the hauntings intensified. Jack was tormented by nightmares, visions of the Willis house and its ghostly inhabitants. He would wake up to find himself standing in his living room, surrounded by the cold, whispering shadows, as if they were guiding him, urging him to complete the ritual. Desperate, Jack tried everything to rid himself of the curse. He consulted mediums, he sought out the help of paranormal experts, he even contacted a local priest, but nothing seemed to work. The presence growing stronger and more insistent. Eventually, Jack realized the horrifying truth. There was no escape from the ritual. He was doomed to be a part of it, to eventually surrender himself to the Willis' will. And he knew that there was no escaping this eternal fate. The Willis house, the ritual, it was never just a place or an event. It was a legacy, a destiny, and he was now inescapably a part of it, whether he liked it or not. So take this as a warning. Whenever you go poking around unknown places with a dark past, you too may be sealing your fate, and there's no way of knowing until it's too late. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to like, share, and follow my page. Your guys' support helps my page growth immensely, so make sure you guys follow and share this video with your guys' friends if you enjoyed it. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you on the next one.